guys! Hello, my name is Taylor and I'm here with Finley and Scarlett, the mystery mutt butts, and we're here today to bring you our list of must-haves to get before you bring your new puppy or dog home. Now, these things are definitely geared specifically towards puppies, but a lot of the same rules still apply if you're adopting an adult dog and bringing an adult dog home for the first time. Okay, so let's get into it. And by the way, these things are in no particular order, just in the order of what's closest to me that I can grab. Number one is a pet-specific urine remover. Now, the reason you want to get Nature's Miracle or some other kind of pet-specific urine remover is those kinds of cleaners have an enzyme in them that will get rid of the pheromone smell that's in the pet's urine and in their feces. That kind of smell can linger, especially in carpet. So even though you've cleaned it, there's no stain, and it doesn't smell to you, your pet can still smell that residual odor that's left over from their urine and their feces, and it still smells like a bathroom to them. So especially for puppies or adult dogs that aren't house trained, it can make it harder to potty train them because that area on your carpet or on your floor or whatever will still smell like a bathroom to them. So look for something that's pet specific. They make tons of different formulas of these. There are ones that you can put in a carpet cleaner, all different kinds of sprays. There are all natural ones. You can add this into your laundry if they happen to go to the bathroom on your clothes or anything. But yeah, this is a definite must-have, especially if you're bringing home a puppy or an adult dog that is not house trained. So these next few items might seem a little bit obvious. Bear with me, please. Whether you're bringing home an adult dog or a puppy, you're going to need, this is a tiny little harness because I have tiny little dogs, but a harness or a collar of some kind for your pet. Now, for puppies or, oh, it's like freezing rain right now. We have had some weird weather today, let me tell you. Anyway, okay, so especially for puppies and for adult dogs that haven't learned how to walk nicely on leash yet, I definitely recommend a harness. The reason for that is our puppies or adult dogs that don't know how to walk on a leash yet, if we're just walking them on a flat collar, they're going to be more likely to strain into their neck, and that can possibly cause injury even if it is just a flat collar. That's not good. We don't want to be causing our dogs any unnecessary harm for sure. So another reason I always recommend harness for new puppies or for adult dogs that don't know how to walk on a leash yet is because when they're straining on their collars, it can actually cut off their oxygen supply. Well, not cut it off, but restrict it and limit it. And that can actually drive them a little bit crazier. So that can definitely lead to more problems when you're trying to walk them on a leash. So until your dog has learned how to walk nicely on the leash, harness. And this is just one example of a harness. This is a back clip harness. If you have a puppy or an adult dog that's a heavy puller, there are tons of front clip harnesses available. My favorites are the Sensation dog harness, the Rough Wear front range harness. I just ordered a couple of those for my two littles, so those will hopefully be here soon. And the Freedom no pull dog harness. Okay, you're also going to need a leash of some kind. I definitely would recommend sticking with just a plain nylon leash like this or leather, some kind of static leash that isn't going to move. I definitely recommend staying away from retractable leashes, and the reason for that, especially for dogs that haven't learned how to walk nicely on leash yet, it can make it harder for them to learn how to walk nicely on leash because retractable leashes work via tension, right? They have to stay taut in order to be reeled back into the handle. So there's always some amount of tension on the dog. So it can be a lot harder to teach them that tension in the leash is actually a bad thing and they need to walk on a nice loose leash. So standard nylon or leather leash. So something else that definitely always recommend for people is to get a very tangled long line. So a long line is basically just a super long leash. You can get them at any pet store or you can order them online. This one specifically I got on Amazon because it's specific for small dogs, so it's really lightweight, which was really important for my guys because they are so small. When they were puppies, I wanted something that was more lightweight. A standard long line that you're going to get at a pet store is a little bit thicker and a little bit heavier, so I wanted something that was nice and light for them. This one is I think 10 feet, so it's not that long, but you can get long lines from 15, 20, 30, 40, all the way up to 50 plus feet. Long lines are super handy for taking our dogs on leashed walks in more natural environments like parks or wooded trails where they're still not allowed to be off leash. That way they can be on leash but have a little bit more freedom. But you have a little bit more control over it, and you can still maintain some slack in the leash so there's not tension on the dog, which is always a good thing. And long lines are my absolute favorite way for training recall. You want to be able to proof your dog's recall or practice it in increasingly more distracting environments, but it's going to be hard to do that if they can only get 6 feet away from you on a standard nylon leash. So a long line enables you to call them away from a distance while still having control over them. And that's always really important. You want to make sure that you would be willing to bet $500 that your dog is going to come back to you when you call them before you let them off leash. That way there will be less of a chance that they'll practice a bad behavior of running away from you and ignoring your recall cue. So the next thing that we should always have for our dogs are poop bags. These are really, really important to have with you at all times, especially if you're going to be taking your dog off of your own property. If they're on your own property, who cares? You can do whatever you want. But when you take them outside of your property, having some poop bags on you will be really handy because it makes all dog owners look bad when people let their dogs poop wherever they want and then don't pick it up. So the next thing that I always recommend for people, and again, I recommend these for puppies or for adult dogs, it doesn't matter. Kongs. This one is obviously very itty bitty. It's for my little guys. But Kongs are a very, very useful tool to have. So these guys you can fill with some peanut butter or some canned pumpkin, wet dog food, any kind of a soft food. I actually have a Kong stuffing recipe that I make a big batch of, and I keep it in my fridge, and then I can throw some in the Kong. And then the most important part is put them in the freezer. These things you can freeze them, they're dishwasher safe. They're just super handy. They're a really great way, especially for puppies after you freeze them. It's a really great way for them to get some mouthing energy out. So for puppies that are teething and they're chewing on everything a lot and their gums are really sore, we can give them a frozen Kong to mouth on and chew on and get all that stuff out, and it's nice and cold so it feels nice and soothing on their gums. These are great boredom busters to have a stuffed frozen Kong stashed away in your freezer to give, hi Finley, to give your dog whenever they're going to be alone for more than a few hours, or if you need them to stay busy with something. They're also a really great way to feed meals for our dogs. We can put a little bit of peanut butter or wet dog food or canned pumpkin, whatever soft thing in here, put their kibble in there, and then put a little bit more pumpkin or peanut butter, whatever, over the top to seal it in, pop it in the freezer, and then give it to our dogs to get their meals out of. It's always much better to have our dogs work. You want to get the Kong, buddy? Hi. It's always much better to have our dogs working for their meals in some way rather than just feeding them straight out of a bowl or just having food out for them all the time. So speaking of having our dogs working for all of their food, treat dispensing toys. So these two are kind of similar. This is another Kong product. It's the Kong Wobbler. I'm sure many of you, well, maybe not younger people, but people my age and older will probably remember Weeble Wobbles. Those things that were filled with sand and Weebles wobble but they don't fall down. This is basically a giant Weeble Wobble. It has a basic, Finley's very excited because he gets his dinners in here. This has a base that's filled with sand. So it's heavy and it weights down, and you can put your dog's food in here or in the top and then just screw it on like this. And then there is a hole right here, and it's big enough for, thank you buddy, it's big enough for, I haven't ever found a kibble that can't fit out of this opening. So what your dog has to do is knock this over to get the food out, and as the food dwindles down, obviously it gets harder for them. But having our dogs work for their meals is so much better for them. It gives them something active to do rather than just eating their meal out of a bowl, and especially for dogs that eat too quickly and get sick. So this Kong Wobbler, you can find them at any pet store. They're the most widely available. They're awesome. I love these. Or for something a little bit more challenging, this is the Busy Buddy Magic Mushroom, I think it's called. This is sort of similar. It unscrews, it's hollow in here, and you can put some food in there. And then there are holes at the top. Hopefully you can see that. There's some holes in there. and the top there for the food to come out of. So you put your food, I don't know if you guys can see the dogs, but they're going crazy right now because these are the things that they get their dinners out of usually. So you can put the food in here, and again, your dog has to knock it around and get all the food out. So for puppies, adult dogs, high energy dogs, dogs that eat too quickly and make themselves sick, definitely recommend food dispensing toys. They also make those slow bowls. I honestly like the toys a little bit more just because they're more interactive and the dog has to sort of figure out how the puzzle works and figure out how to get out there. Tons of different options for food dispensing toys available. Finley's currently knocking his Kong around trying to get, there's no food in it. Anyway, so there are tons of different treat dispensing toys available. There are lots of different kinds on Amazon or in pet stores. So do a little Googling, find lots of fun things. And yeah, get some treat dispensing toys for your dogs. So the next couple of things are definitely going to be necessary for puppies or for adult dogs, both, and they are nail trimming devices. So these are just nail clippers. Again, obviously they're very small because I have very small dogs. And then this is a nail Dremel. Now, it has a little sanding head there. And it's 2 speeds, high and low. This one is a pet specific one, that's why it's got a paw print there. It works great for dogs that have thinner nails or smaller nails. Like my smaller dogs have small nails, obviously. But if you have a larger dog, like for my German Shepherd, we just used a regular Dremel for him with a finer grit paper. So these little heads here detach and you can get different grit paper for it. So if you have a Dremel, obviously this battery, because it's pet specific, the motor is not very high powered. So that's high speed. Like I can do my nails with this. So obviously it's not very powerful, but it works good for dogs that have softer nails or smaller nails like these little guys. But if you have a dog that has tougher, thicker nails or like just larger nails in general, then you can just find a regular Dremel and use a finer grit paper. What this does is it sands down the nail. These are great for clipping, but, and this is speaking from experience working in a grooming salon for a long time, it's much easier to quick a dog or clip into that sensitive part of their nail that can bleed with these. Much harder to do it with this. But I do know that I've used these on my own dogs, on other dogs in the grooming salon, and after I started using this in the grooming salon, I always recommended to people to use a Dremel because you can smooth the dog's nail down. With using a clipper, the nail is sort of squared off and it's going to be a little bit jagged and sharp for a few days after. Obviously if your dog walks on pavement a lot, then it's going to naturally sort of file down. But what's also important is that keeping our dog's nails shorter can actually make their life easier because obviously, like with humans, all of their structure starts from the bottom up. So when their nails are really long, their feet get kind of splayed out and their feet get flatter, and this isn't great for their structure, and it can lead to problems with their joints as they get older. But when their nails are shorter, their feet stay nice and compact, and it can lead to a decreased likelihood of developing joint problems as they get older. Also leads to decreased likelihood of your floors getting scratched and your legs getting scratched and just everything getting scratched. So keeping your dog's nails short is very important, and the Dremel is great for that. Now if your dog's nails are really long, then you're going to want to clip them first. Just clip the tips off, clip the longest parts off, and then shorten them and round them out with the Dremel. But it's really important to get our puppies used to these kinds of things really early and make sure that they see it as a positive experience, because if they don't, it's just going to make your life a lot harder, and you'll either not be able to do it yourself and have to like bring them to a vet or groomer and shell out money. The sooner we get our puppies comfortable with getting their feet handled and getting their nails clipped and dremeled and stuff, the easier it'll be to do their nails in the future, which will just make your life a lot easier. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to want to get for our dogs are toys. Lots and lots of toys. Now, especially for puppies, this is really important to get as many toys as possible and have them out and able for your dog to access at all times, especially for puppies. And the reason for that is the more stuff they have available to them that is okay for them to play with and chew on, the less likely they're going to be to go after your table legs and your shoes and your carpet and all kinds of stuff they're not supposed to play with. And it'll also be easier for you to redirect them onto a toy if they do happen to go after something they're not supposed to play with. So lots and lots and lots of toys, and have some variety in toys, especially for puppies. So get things like this that crinkle, and rope toys that are really frilly. Puppies especially tend to love these. Rubber toys that make interesting noises. Stuffingless toys that they can shake and drag around and pull on. These are really great to play tug with, by the way. This thing, like anything with interesting texture, especially for puppies that are teething, interesting textures and stuff like rubber toys, softer toys, squishy things, you know, like this kind of towel-y texture. This one squeaks and it rattles. It's also a little bit firmer, so that's also a different texture. The hide a squirrel is one of my favorites. The squirrels are missing. I don't really know what happened to them, but this thing comes with a bunch of squirrels that you can put in here, and then they pull the squirrels out from the little stump. This thing's a lot of fun. And then this little soft balloony lion thing, all different kinds of toys. The more the merrier, and especially if you have a puppy, leave those toys out all the time so your dog always has access to good things to play with. Okay, so moving on to the next object, a dog bed. Kind of self-explanatory. It's always nice for our dogs to have their own place to sleep. And then the next couple of things I'm going to talk about are containment. So that can mean a crate of some kind, like this one. This is a travel crate. Obviously there are tons of different kinds of crates. You're going to want to make sure that you're getting something appropriately sized for your dog, especially if you have a puppy. You need to make sure that it's not too big, because if it's too big, then they'll likely pee and poop in their crate, because there'll be enough space that they can like poop in one corner and get away from it and sleep in the other. So you want to make sure the crate is big enough for your dog to stand up in it without having to duck, that they can comfortably turn around and lie down in it. And obviously you want to make sure they have some nice soft bedding in there, so they can curl up and go to sleep, and make sure it's nice and cozy. So if you are not a person that is going to crate train your dog, then baby gates. So this is just a wooden baby gate that we obviously didn't ever secure onto a wall. We liked having these ones because they're really light. Obviously they're easy to move around. So I like something like that because it's easy to move it around. So you can contain your dog in different areas of the house at different times, which is always handy. Another option, if you don't want to have baby gates, is an exercise pen, or an X pen for short. Exercise pens are just metal or plastic little play pens that have enough room for your dog to move around, and you can put toys in there, and you know, some water and a bed, whatever. But it's not so closed in like a crate. The top is still open. Obviously it's wire or plastic, so they can still see out of it. But containment is a really great way to help house train your dog by restricting their access to various parts of the house. So like for puppies, for example, you can restrict their access to a kitchen or a bathroom, so that way if they do have an accident when you're gone, it's on a surface, hopefully tile or something like that, that's easy to clean. So there's one last thing I want to talk about, and that is potty pads. Potty pads can be pretty controversial among dog owners and trainers and vets and stuff like that. Personally, I'm a fan of potty pads because I have two very tiny little dogs. When they were puppies especially, they were this big and their bladders were this big, so they were going to the bathroom every 30 minutes to an hour. And I am not a person that likes to get up in the middle of the night and let my puppies out. I know. Okay, hello. So for me, I would rather have my dogs, especially because they are still small and they do tend to go more often. So for me, having potty pads available was a help, and I still use them today. They have an area downstairs in our front room where we keep a couple of pads down all the time. So that way, Usually we're not gone for more than 3 or 4 hours at a time, but at overnight they still have to go in the middle of the night. They'll get up really, really early in the morning before we get up at like 3 or 4 in the morning and pee or poop or both, and I don't want to get up in the middle of the night, frankly, I just don't. So for me, potty pads were really useful because I was able to train my dogs to use the potty pads, and that way I didn't have to get up, you know, 2 and 3 times a night when they were puppies. I don't have to get up super early in the morning now. And if we're gonna be gone for a long period of time, which doesn't happen that often, but if they are gonna be alone for a long time, it does happen occasionally, then we don't have to worry about having somebody go let the dogs out or making arrangements or leaving early or whatever. They have a designated spot in our house, which is also better because if we weren't able to make arrangements for whatever reason and we didn't have potty pads, then we were risking them peeing on our carpet or peeing somewhere in the house. For me, I'd rather have a designated spot where it's okay for them to go. But it can be a little tricky training your dog to use potty pads. Obviously when they're puppies it's a little bit easier than when they're an adult dog. But if you guys are interested in that, let me know and then I definitely will make it. So that is all I have for today. Obviously there were a couple of items that I didn't include, like dog bowls, and that's because I don't use dog bowls. These guys eat their dinner from treat dispensing toys, or I'll use their meal times to train, which I highly recommend everybody do. Anyway, don't feed your dog out of bowls, make them work for it. But definitely let me know if you guys want to see that video about training your dog to use potty pads or just house training in general. Can definitely make that happen. So, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see y'all later. Bye! Say goodbye! Say goodbye! Oh, Finley! Ew, you licked me in the mouth. It's gross. Okay, bye!